changing. I see a beautiful day. It's coming my way. It's a beautiful day.
Indeed, it is a beautiful, beautiful day. Welcome to A Beautiful Life. I am your host, Jaquita J.Q. Lee, and tonight you all have this amazing, amazing opportunity to hear from one of the newest authors, Miss Justine R. Morrison. And so you're going to hear me call her Rochelle. So we're going to park right there on that R.
I know.
Well,
everybody calls me Rochelle.
Welcome to A Beautiful Life.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is her latest, her newest, A Bridge to Purpose. And when I tell you, it is a must-have for the family. And so I cannot wait for you all to hear from her. Rochelle, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, JQ. It's such a pleasure. I am Justine Morrison, yes, a new author. I that's something that's, God has planted in me specifically because writing a book was never in my forte, never in my language or anything, but here it is.
And let's jump into it because she just recently had her book launch. And when I tell you, like I've shared with her, I have been to book launches, but hers was just exceptionally put together well. It was so fun. It was so informative. It was so creative in the way in which you did it, Rochelle. Talk a little bit about the beginning. What was your why as it relates to this literary piece?
JQ, sometime, a lot of time we often ask someone in that question, the why. Sometimes we don't even know how we started, but God has a way of manifesting. And I believe once your heart is pure and God sees the direction, he will walk favor into you. Writing a book was never something that I even planned. I had all these other aspirations in my head. Mm-hmm. And one day I sat down and I thought to myself, I'm like, I kind of missed that mark with my daughter, although I was in banking, missed the mark of educating her because I was trying to, try to formulate myself as a parent. And then I realized my son, he is in high school and I'm like, why not fill the gap of try to educate my son so he doesn't meet the pitfall as, when he gets out there as a typical kid. And I start putting things together. I started journalizing, but I knew the pattern that I want, but I wasn't sure how to put it together to make one piece. And then the book just came. God.
And here we go. And so, it was interesting, having you share the story behind that. Thank you for your transparency, you being in banking, but really understanding that there wasn't really that education level for your children that you felt that they needed to have and the impact that could have made on them. A lot of times we are making decisions based on our own upbringing.
Absolutely.
Be it good or bad, talk a little bit about the dialogue or thereof as it relates to money, finances growing up.
Well, with money, because I'm from the Caribbean, and money was never something that was communicated with us. I know I got my check when I got my first pay. My mom and everybody was happy for me. Go to the bank, sign the check. I didn't even know why I was endorsing a check. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't something that my generation educated us on. Mm-hmm. So we were more in my book, if you realize I had a lot of Jamaican proverbs because that's what I know what my grandma, would say, ever make a mucka, save here. But you don't know the intricate part of it as being saving, what's the importance of it.
Right.
When I became a parent, I didn't even know, hey, this is the process. This is where you go. This is the foundation in order to be grounded. So it wasn't something that was actually discussed in our community, in our schools. Um, so it's you tend to fall over to your children because if you don't emulate something, then you can't pass it on.
That,
So
that's it.
yeah,
And you know, I love that you shared that, as I said, at the book launch, and you know, really focusing in on this generation. They love, you know, the nice things. They love the brand
yes,
things, but they don't fully understand the work that it took to get the money to acquire
yes,
things. And
yes,
so you made mention about your Jamaican roots, and so I love the setup of this book. Like, it's so lively, you all. It's so colorful.
yes,
And so she
yes.
opens every chapter up with some patois, and then she goes to the beans.
Yes,
We're gonna have some little fun tonight. So we're gonna open up, and we're gonna go to chapter 2.
chapter 2. Let me find that with you. Okay.
So we're gonna go page 7, and she's gonna do it in patois, and I'm gonna get the recap of what she said.
Okay.
Uh-huh. So
So
this
in
chapter 2 is
patois,
I got this.
I got this. So the concept behind, let me say, the concept behind my content was not to say, I was trying to speak in the jargons of children. So I didn't say communication. I said, let's chit chat. So I got this mean leadership. So
Mm-hmm.
everything had a word behind it, but I wanted to use the language of how our children communicate with each other to have fun with it.
Yeah.
So I got this was the whole chapter is on leadership. And patois, it says young bud no storm.
And so the meaning for that is young people are daring. They love to talk or take risks, but they lack the experience needed, as of such lack wisdom. So
Yes.
break that down.
Well, these days our generation, they like to be on a fast pace. They want everything like this, everything microwavable. They see your parents working hard. They don't know the work or the ethics behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe if in respect even to chores, little kids tend to be reluctant with chores. But if we implement chores in their daily life, that will also trickle down into their leadership, their adult life, and that will also give them wisdom, as the Bible say, knowledge is wisdom. So you have to kind of incorporate that process with our children to say, hey, leadership is something more than you see a boss out there, you see somebody in jacket and tie, but it's the character, it's the attributes around that will give you the wisdom to have great aspirations.
And you know what? One of the things that I love about your book, Rochelle, is yes, you're talking about finance, but you're hitting a number of areas, from even when you're speaking on leadership and giving examples of that. Talk a little bit about why it was important for you to give a full view as it relates to not just understanding finance, but the character, the leadership, and the other chapters that you have.
Well, when I thought about it, I thought that money, it doesn't matter your relationship, your job, everything that we do communicate with leadership, communication, your emotions. Because if you can't combine those languages together to control money or to move money around, then it means nothing to you.
Mm.
So in our daily life, you have to understand that children have, or parents have to understand that, having money, we have to know how to communicate. We have to know how to negotiate. We have to know how to have great dialogue and have respect. People say money is the root of all evil, but it's not the root of all evil. It's the way that you're going to use the money. And that's how you get to communicate well with leadership, and bringing your emotions and everything, know how to control yourself. So that's why I speak not only broad on money, but the general basic that we as children and parents has to get our kids to be so grounded with, especially with communication.
And that's it. Like, the word is talking about the love of it. When it becomes your God, that's a totally different thing. But guess what?
Yes.
When we talk about money, we should actually understand that the word also tells us about stewardship. It speaks on stewardship, and us being good stewards. And so
Mm-hmm.
one of the things, parents, among many, that I love about this book, you all, is it is addressing a much needed issue or problem. They're
Yeah,
not talking about these things in our schools like they should.
absolutely.
So, America is just so in debt. Okay. And when you're talking about being able to take these children to the next generation who understands the value of money, has a healthy relationship with money, it starts as children. Because if it is addressed as adults, then you're having to combat those years and years of either miseducation or no education.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yes.
I always tell my son or my children that, God has a way of, you might ask for something bigger and greater, but God will put you in position to see how well you're able to steward in that position. So you could be in Walmart and you want a CEO position, or you want to be a big entrepreneur, you have great vision for everything. But if you can't be disciplined and grounded in that lower position,
Come on.
how
Come
is
on.
he going to put you on that pedestal that you want him to put you on?
That's
So
it.
it's all about obedience, discipline. And people don't understand that everything you ask for is a navigation of how God is going to take you from one horizon to the next. So if you keep praying and you're wondering, hey, why this not happening to me? Because you're not stewarding well in the lower position that he put you in. Because we
Come on.
want something big, but he can't give it to you.
Come on. Come on.
Yep.
That's good. That's good. Before we leave that chapter, I want to go to page 9. This is, I thought, was really a great
It's 9.
add-on with tips on improving motivation. I love this because
Yes.
you begin to speak on, celebrating your kids' accomplishments, letting them know
Yes.
you are proud of them. I think sometimes,
Absolutely.
you know, we can get so caught up in what they're not doing, well.
Hmm.
And it's important that we feed them um, the motivation that they need and the inspiration that they need to go forth and do their best. I think it's, sometimes we feel like things are given, but just as we like to get praise, and we like to, you
Absolutely.
appreciate us, the
Yeah.
same. And talk a little bit about why it was important to put motivation in this book.
One of the reasons is I'm going to be very transparent because I think that when I'm being transparent, people get to understand me better. During the process that I went through my divorce, it took a toll on my son because he was at the time 4, and he's very shy and an introvert. If you realize that he was at the event,
Hmm.
so with my son, he's not that motivated with stuff, even with school and all that. So as a mom, it was a struggle for me to get him to be motivated. So I had to use, and there's no perfect handbook for parenting. So I had to use the love of myself to hug him, even if he did something wrong, and discipline him. But when it is good, I'll give him that check mark. I'll say, hey, son, I'm proud of you. I love you, because those are the things that these kids need to hear in the morning when I drop him off. Even if
Come
he's
on.
grumpy, I said, Papi, he hate when I call him Papi. I hope this, I say, Mommy, love you. And, I will hug him. Or
Mhm.
sometime when he does something wrong, as island parents, we get a little rowdy, but I'll just put my hand on him and then rest my head on him, and he'll do the same. So, sometimes they might not say anything, but they know in their heart that, hey, mommy got me. She loves me. She's always hugging me. She's always pouring into me. The first weapon of defense that I would tell my son, even if he does something wrong and he's worried, I said, Papi, do not depend on your friends. The Father in heaven, have that conversation. He will put things in your vision. He will talk to you and make it right when he's confused about something. So I
Yeah.
try to encourage my children the best way I know how as a mom. But motivation these days is that's what the kids need. Encouragement, love,
Yeah.
love on them, love on your children. It doesn't matter what, love on them.
Amen. Amen. I want to move now to chapter 4. All right. 4.
You're getting me excited.
Page 17. Page 17.
All right, chapter 4.
My hand in the cookie jar, page 17.
Yes.
And so she's gonna give you the patois, and I'm gonna.
Okay, the patois say, a swift make was was na get a honey.
So I'm gonna break that down. So what is be strategic and not hasty? Talk a little bit about chapter 4.
So the meaning, as you said, is be strategic, not hasty. And as I said before, a lot of us tend to want everything microwavable, especially these kids.
Yes.
They want everything microwavable. And I heard Kirk Franklin said something once. He said when his grandma wanted to prepare a Sunday dinner, she would marinate that chicken because she wanted to be so nice and juicy the next day. She didn't put it in a microwave so it can be crispy and have no flavor. She wanted to be slow cook. So sometimes when we're doing things in life, we have to pace ourselves, because I always believe in slow and steady pace, because that would be an absolute divine thing when you see what you have done and not be able to depict or see what society is doing outside there, because we are so hasty because everybody's looking like they're rich and everybody looking like they're driving the Bugatti and everything, but it's not that.
That's it.
You have to work on your own pace, and I like to use prayer, yes, and pray about what you're gonna do, what you want, and ask God to direct you, because sometimes they will say you jump out of the fire right in the frying pan. That's another Jamaican phrase. You're moving too fast. Moving too fast. Yes. The decision wasn't yours. The decision wasn't yours. But we have to pace ourselves. And as I said, society would allow these children to move too fast and wanting to do things that is not ethical and not practical. And at the end of the day, as a mom, we have to face that burden, because we have to always educate, and home is the first way of educating and teaching these children, the home and in your ministry.
That's it. That's it. And here's what I love too. Another thing that I like about your book, you made it in such simple terms, and you really begin to break down each area. Earlier in the show, you made mention about working and getting that check, but you didn't even really know all of what it entailed in regards to even writing a check or having a check. Talk a little bit about, because in this particular chapter you have why is savings important, basic budgeting skills. Talk a little bit about why it was important for you to do the fundamentals and how you were able to actually make it so relatable for the children.
When I thought about this book and how I wanted the chapters, I remember going back to school. We had big books that is colorful. It's broken down simply for us to get through. And things are so complex for these children and parents ourselves. We're going through the day-to-day process that sometimes we just need a husa moment. So I wanted my book to be very versatile, very simple to understand, very friendly, from a parent to a toddler can go ahead and communicate with my book, and not something that they will have to question, but to understand that this is the platform that they're going to need. And when they go out there, they're going to remember these terminologies. They're going to remember these little words, the budget, the saving. Because coming from a banking industry, it was so fun with kids bringing these little piggy banks and these coins. But we don't have those things anymore. They have these little passbook, and it was so much fun, but everything is a touch screen. So even in my book, I try to implement a check, because we have to take them back to see, hey, this is where things are coming from, a paper stage, so a automatic stage where you touch a button and face screen and all that. So I wanted to be more practical with the kids and the parents to read and educate and enjoy the book.
Well, I tell you, I like read this in one sitting. It was just so refreshing to see
Thank you.
the colors in it. She even has games in here for
I
you to play
know.
with
I
them.
know.
Let's go to chapter 6, and for me it's page 29, chapter
Page
6.
29.
And so this chapter,
Okay.
connecting the
Connecting the dots. It says time longer than rope.
so meaning persons must work hard and have hope and faith, knowing they will reach their set goals. Talk a little more on.
Yes. With retirements, that's something that as parents we don't even want to talk to our children about. And I have witnessed where I've lost good friends that was saving and, had dreams and aspiration, but never made it to even enjoy that.
Mm,
So I want parents to understand it's okay to even have an IRA for them as a baby age, as a tender age. Communicate with our children with anything that we can because um, anything can happen and you just don't get the opportunity to discuss the intricate part of life and, you know, um, what we need to do when we retire and not only budget and saving but just the fact that we have life insurance and all these are the things that is going to take part when you get to your adult.
yeah.
And by the time you quit, time fly past. Now we're at the 26th of March and we just started in January. So I just wanted to make sure that we are educating our children as much as we can and not leaving out any part of finance to these kids because they need to know these languages.
And let me tell you why I think this book stands out, and to our beautiful viewing audience, like it really is a must-have for your family library. In chapter 7, you just heard her make mention of life insurance. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what financial book, children's book per se, actually goes into that? I
Yeah.
think the earlier we have these conversations, the
Yeah.
more prepared our families will be to
Absolutely.
really get to that generational place of wealth that we're talking about. Even not even just the money part, but the generational education that can be
Yes.
on
Yes.
because of the awareness.
Yeah, let me tell you a story behind this part that says, "Let's face the music." My daughter, she is in her 20s, so I took life insurance for her, and she was like, "Mommy, why did you do that?" And she was getting so irritable, and I'm like, "Mommy, this is for everyone." And children are passing now before the parents, and you never know, things are happening these days. You're driving and stuff like that. I said it's
Hmm.
not like before where parents would leave a life insurance, but it's okay for me to take it to protect you. So something happened where somebody passed, a friend passed. She was like 20 something.
Mm.
She just went to do a massage and she passed from aneurysm.
Mm, my God.
And I said to her, I said, look at that.
Hmm.
And I'm saying, I'm pretty sure our mom wasn't prepared for that. She only went to get a massage, and that was it. So, when we think about these things, sometimes some conversation is harder to have with children, but we have to really get them involved and really talk to them. We don't know what life has out there for them, but in the meantime, let us be prepared as parents to educate them and so give them these little fundamentals that they're going to need because it's not only black and white out there. It's going to be the harsh reality when they get out there.
That's right. That's good. I
Yeah.
it made me think about. I'm just going to to chapter 10, page 43. I am a masterpiece. And
Yes.
when you're talking about really properly preparing them, um, for the roles that they will play in society and an impact that they will make, it really is about education. It really is about giving them as much information um, for them to be ahead. I am very diligent with my parents when I had the mentorship program, like for the summer. Don't just let them just Netflix and chill for the entire.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you understand that the world is very competitive. And so the more
Yes.
information that you know, the more you will position yourself to be the go to be the one that's selected or chosen. And so
Yeah.
I love how you incorporated so many facets to really understanding that it's not just about writing a check or knowing how to
Yeah.
balance a checkbook. It
Absolutely.
about your character, your a level of, like as I said, your relationship with money,
Yeah.
you understanding you're a masterpiece. And so talk a little bit as we begin to just wrap up, um, and talk a little bit about the games that you incorporated in the book, for the families to be able to interact.
The games that I actually had in there was, I had the little piggy saving because I work at a bank, and I
Mhm.
wanted kids to understand the elements, the 8 points elements. They call it 8 points elements of a check. So I incorporate that in there because no matter how we're automated, we can't eliminate checks. Period. We can't eliminate. So I had a check, I had the bingo, I had the whisper game, and the whisper game to me is my favorite because a
Mhm.
lot of time we communicate and we interpret the wrong thing. So, I wanted kids to see, hey, listening is very important
Yes.
when you're communicating in school, in the house. So I had these little games, practical games that they can enjoy and, even enjoy with their parents.
Mhm.
Yeah. So have fun. To have fun.
When I tell you all will truly, truly have fun with this game. Here is just the level of comprehensive measures that we're taking for this book. So she actually has a word tool,
Yes.
and so all of these words, like these words that they may be hearing for the first time, even for parents.
Yeah.
She goes into talking about credit and credit repair and the breakdown of the
Yeah.
percentages and various things like that. She literally has a word toolbox for you to be able to go back, see the
And
difference.
remember, yes.
When I tell
I remember we had this at school. We had, a little glossary, and we did go back. If I don't know the word, I'd be flipping through the book and go back. So I wanted to have that with them, go back because, you read the book, you might forget. So go
right.
back and say, oh, I remember the word budget, like have fun.
So for her, that B word budget is not a bad word. She tools in here for us to
Yes. Yes.
take control of those matters.
Hmm.
She even talks about various apps that you can use to
Yeah.
help stay on target and task with your budget. And
Yeah.
so, as we wrap up, I tell you, it's been a pleasure. I've known her
Thank
for
you so much. Thank you so
years.
much.
Oh, it is my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I've known her for a couple of years now, and so I always tell people, yes, some horrible things can happen on social media and internet, but there are some great things happening as well. And
Absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
was on Instagram that she had a book launch coming out, and I remember you being one of the first to support A Beautiful Life,
Thank
um,
you.
vendor when I did a live show. And I tell you all, it's so important for us to not only support with our mouths, but with our actions. Um,
Absolutely.
when people are doing beautiful things in our community. And I would love for you, as we wrap up, to share with our beautiful viewing audience how they can actually purchase your book, how they can get you to come out to speak to their children's groups, and how they can get in touch with you.
Well, my book, it's now on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon, both a paperback and a hard copy. I do have a website. It's called abridgetolifepurpose.com. You can also purchase it there. You can email me also at info@myresource.me. If you have any questions, any concerns, you can follow me on Instagram, A Bridge to Life Purpose. And let's connect. Let's give these children what they need, the platform that they should be on, and so they can be all financial literates. And
Uh, all right. Well, you all have heard it from Miss Jacine
Yes,
R.
ma'am.
The newest author to this, and the gentleman who did her emceeing at her, he was phenomenal, and he shared
He's also an author too.
He shared a stat that I did not know. I'm an author as well, and
Yes,
1.5%.
Mm-hmm. Yes. A lot of people have dreams to write a book, but many do not have that aspiration to go. You'd hear a lot of people, I start writing, but I haven't finished. You got to finish it. You got to work. It's a lot of work.
This is your glaring sign. Finish.
Yes.
Started.
Yes. Yes. And I hope I get to, inspire someone else who is in that transition to write something, but not able to fulfill it. Just go after it, go big, go bold. Even if you don't know when it's going to come out, just be bold about it. Like, step out there.
Amen. Amen. You might be the first to do it, but guess what? By you doing it, that can transition your family to where you won't be the last. And so,
absolutely.
Go out and purchase a bridge to purpose.
Yes. Yes. And in the back it says, follow your dream.
All right. You've heard it from Miss Morrison herself.
Thank you, JQ.
Thank you. Thank you. And we want to just thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you share. For those who will see this on replay, make sure that you go out and support our local authors, those who are making sure that home is taken care of. So let's make sure.
Thank you.
I am your host, Queta JQ Lee. And thank you for joining.
I'm living a beautiful life. I'm making a beautiful life. I'm changing, rearranging. I see a beautiful day.